Steve, it's been over 2 years since Iron Maiden released Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, the band's last studio album. How did the long break affect your approach to the new album?
I think it just sort of fired us up to make us really want to get in and do it because, I mean, obviously I was pretty busy. I was, like editing the video and stuff like that, and Bruce was doing his album, and Nico was doing all sorts of drum clinics and stuff like that. But basically, it was a long time, too long a gap really, to take off, and we just couldn't wait to get back in and play. So I think it really fired us up to go in there and actually really, just want to, do it. I think it's made it sound very, very live because we, recorded it in the barn at my place with the mobile and all that, and it's just, I don't know, it just sounds really exciting, I think.
Do you think that has a lot to do with the introduction of your new guitarist, Yannick Gers?
Yeah, partly. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Obviously, the fact that we had time off, the fact that we did the album in the barn, with the live sound. Obviously Yannick joining. It's a combination of all those things. Just really makes it. It's like a supercharge when he came down. Like to audition. We were already fired up anyway. We just couldn't wait to get at it. But when he came down, it was just like sort of icing on the cake, really.
Has his arrival changed the Maiden approach to songwriting or the actual sound of the band?
No, not the songwriting at all, because all the songs were actually written before Yannick joined anyway. Because he actually joined, we'd already started recording. In fact, me and Nico had already laid down the bass and drum track for The Assassin when Adrian went. So it hasn't really changed anything like that. In fact, I would say more, he's probably changed his approach slightly, like in some of his rhythm playing and that to fit in with the band. I don't think he's been used to playing sort of tight rhythms and that, but his actual solo playing is just like, well, outrageous, I would say. It's made it like a real two-pronged attack now, because he's an out-and-out lead player, and so is Davey. It's not to say that Adrian weren't, because Adrian was a great player, but I think I wouldn't sort of call him a natural lead player.
You touched briefly there on the recording process for the new album, No Prayer for the Dying. It's a very unusual approach, isn't it? Can you explain a little bit about how you went about it?
Well, originally we were supposed to start recording at Battery Studios in North London in April, and the reason why we ended up doing it at my place was because the material company gave us so quick that we really allowed ourselves like January, February, March to actually write all the material, and it came together really quick, like by the end of January. So, we thought we can't be waiting around 3 months, to get in the studio in April, because we couldn't get in there anyway because they were booked up. So we just thought we'd get the mobile down, which we'd use on Made in England anyway, and give it a try in the barn because it's a really good sounding room, and just see if see if it comes out really well, and basically we just thought we'd get it down for the first couple of days and just try it out, see if the sound was good and everything, and it was so good, the drum sound and everything, that we decided to go for it there and then.
How did your producer Martin Birch react to that when you first said you wanted to do a record in your own house?
Well, he knew that's the place where we've been rehearsing and doing pre-production and that anyway. So it wasn't like it was a shock or whatever, because we'd actually talked about possibly doing something like that in the past anyway. He just said, well, let's get the mobile down and try it out. He was really quite open to it.
You mentioned having worked on Made in England up here as well, which is the Iron Maiden live video. You've also directed, edited, done the whole works on the video for the new single, Holy Smoke.
Yeah, I actually filmed it myself. Obviously not the bits of myself. I had to get someone else to do that, but the rest of it I actually filmed it, and it made everybody really relaxed because obviously with me on the other end of the camera, they were sort of very relaxed and just joking about and stuff, and I think it shows in the video. We had a lot of fun doing it, and there was no time pressure because I was just doing it on odd days, when we just felt like it. And I'm really pleased with the result. It's come out quite well. I think it's quite amusing anyway.
It's probably not what people would expect from Iron Maiden as a video.
No, they probably wouldn't expect Bruce to be jumping out in the middle of a farmer's field singing, and Davey standing playing his solo in the middle of a stream and things like that, and Yannick in the swimming pool. I suppose they would expect stuff like that, but I think that's also what's good about it as well, because it was natural. It wasn't like, oh, we set up as a real storyline as to anything. You know, we just went out and filmed stuff, and you know, and any idea that came into mind at the time said, oh yeah, let's do that. And that's what makes it. I think that's what makes it fun. You know,
It makes a great contrast to the actual track as well, which is really fierce.
yeah. I mean, lyrically it's quite fierce, but I mean, we thought, well, if we do, you know, the video's like tongue in cheek. It's sort of, I suppose it makes it a bit more bearable, if you know what I mean. If we could have gone either way. We could have either done a fun type thing or really done a really heavy video, and we just felt that, you know, it's much better to do more of a fun type thing.
Was it a conscious decision that the first cut from the new album would be such a vitriolic and hard song?
No, because originally I was just going to do, you know, like promos, you know, for like Holy Smoke and one other song. As like backup stuff. I mean, originally I wasn't even thinking that they would be the singles, because originally we thought maybe like Oxing You, you know, and Daughter would be the singles. So I was just doing Holy Smoke and possibly Tail Gunner as like extra promo videos, just, you know, was something for me to do really. And we were going to do like proper super duper videos for them, but then we decided to change our mind about the single. And we thought, well, we've got the video footage anyway, let's see how it turns out, and it turned out really well.
Were you surprised that the record company would allow you to release a first single that contained swear words and quite biting lyrical aspects?
It makes no difference, to be honest, what they think. We've never worried about what they think. They never tell us what to do as far as like what we release and what we don't release. I mean, in actual fact, it's quite a funny story in a way. A few years ago, when we released Number the Beast and Run the Hills was like a number 7 hit single. When we came to do Peace of Mind, they started freaking out because we didn't have a Run the Hills Part 2, and so because Flight of Icarus was just so totally different, and they were going on about, oh, the drums sound weird because you've got a different drummer and all this sort of stuff. And we told them to go away nicely, and we basically just banned them from the studio. We said, you're not coming down the studio anymore, and that's it. They haven't been down since 1983. They haven't been a record company person down at the studio. We just said, well, you know, if you don't like it, we're not going to release the album. You know, so they never really tell us what to do anyway. Well, they never have. So, you know, I tried to do that at that point, but it didn't really work. So,
still, I don't think there'd be any complaints from them about the new album.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the only thing they might say is that it's swear words on the single or whatever. But I mean, you know, I think that's up to people. I mean, we don't get radio play anyway, very little of it. So if people want to play it and if they feel they want to beep it, then it's up to them. We're not going to actually do anything, you know, to sort of doctor it or whatever. It's just up to the individual who plays it. You know, well, most of them probably won't play it anyway, so it won't make any difference, will it?
The new album, No Prayer for the Dying, is absolutely full of great new material. Are there any particular songs that stand out to you as favourites?
I suppose I like the title track a lot, and Holy Smoke, and I really like Public Enemy a lot. I think that's a really good song, really heavy. I really like that one.
Are you surprised that after 10 years at the top, the band still has the fire and enthusiasm to record an album as fierce as No Prayer for the Dying?
Not really. I mean, I just think it's like the approach, you know. So the approach for this one was, you know, we were pretty fierce in the studio, if you know what I mean, because we'd been off for a while, so we were all like chomping at a bit and couldn't wait to get back at it. So I think that's got a lot to do with it. But really, I mean, I think, you know, whichever way you approach an album, I mean, it's just a natural thing, really. I mean, like with the last album, it turned out to be a little bit on the progressive side, perhaps. It was a natural thing, whereas we didn't actually sort of sit down and say, oh, we're going to go progressive on this one, or with the latest album, we think we're going to get a bit more aggressive. You know, we just do whatever we do, and that's the way it turns out. You know, we just sit down and write the best songs we can, and go in and perform them. I think the fact that this one actually sounds a bit more live, I think it's got a lot to do with it. Because I think if you actually was to stick an audience noise on it, a lot of people would think it was a live album.
I think the word live is really the key with this new album. Sounds very spontaneous. How well do you think it's going to translate into the live setting?
Oh, I think it very well. I mean, but there's same with all our albums. Really, when we write the songs, we write them as a view to playing live, not just for the studio. It's not like we put loads and loads of overdubs or anything like that on the albums. We don't. We just pretty much do them live when we lay the backing tracks down. We just go in and, you know, actually play as a band as we would without the guitar solos on them. And Bruce does a guide vocal, and then we just strip everything away and redo the guitars afterwards, you know, with a better sound. But the basic feel of the bass and drums in that is already, you know, is there. The general feeling and the vibe of it all. That's the way we always record. But the fact that this was done in a place where we actually rehearse, I think made a big difference, because just a general feeling of you know, of being in there as if we were rehearsing for a tour almost. It just gave us a better live feel, I think.
I presume you'll be heading out on the road in support of the record. What far-flung corners of the world will be getting a dose of Maiden this time round?
Well, it's going to be a world tour, so, I mean, obviously we'll be going all over Europe and the States and Australia, New Zealand, Japan. We're also talking about going to places like Bangkok and Singapore, Hong Kong, places like that. Although we've talked about doing them before and it never got round to doing them, so I don't know, we'll see.
Have you got any secrets that you can give us with regard to exactly what the live show will contain?
Well, basically, I'm not going to tell you hardly anything really. Only to say that it will be a sort of changeable stage thing, where stage set, you know, really. There'll be no actual physical stage production that's going to be there all the time. There'll be things sort of changing about, you know, all the time. That's all I'm going to say.
But I hope we're going to see everybody's favourite fiend, Eddie, on stage with you still.
Oh yeah, Eddie will still be there, definitely. I mean, as soon as you see the name, you know, the logo Iron Maiden, you always think of Eddie, and if you see a picture of Eddie, you think of Iron Maiden, so I think the two are inseparable, really.
Steve Harris, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.